Do you ever see something on the news and think, wow, I want to talk about this in English, but I don't know how?
If you feel like that, you are not alone. Many English learners have the same problem.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mr. English Tutor, where learning English is easy and fun. I'm Emma.
And I'm Alex. We're very happy that you are here with us today.
How are you today, Alex?
I'm good, thank you. I read some news this morning, so I have a lot in my mind.
That sounds interesting. I also checked the news today, and I want to talk about it.
Perfect for this episode.
Before we start, if you enjoy learning with us, please subscribe to Mr. English Tutor.
And please like this video.
Also, share this podcast with a friend who is learning English and wants to talk about the news. Today, our topic is Learn to Talk About News in English, Conversation Practice for Beginners and Intermediate.
So today, we learn how to talk about news in simple English.
We will not talk about one big news story. We will talk about how to speak about news in general.
This is very useful in real life. People often say, "Did you see the news?" or "Did you hear about this?"
Many learners feel shy. They think, my English is not good enough. I do not know the words.
But today, we make it easy, simple, and even a little fun.
We will give you sentences you can copy and use when you talk about news with other people. Let's start with a simple question. Alex, where do you usually get your news?
I usually get my news on my phone. I read news websites and news apps. Sometimes I watch the news on TV.
That's very common.
Yes, many people do that now.
For me, I sometimes read news on my phone and sometimes I listen to the radio.
Wow, that's interesting. Not many people listen to the radio now, but I like that.
Thank you. Listeners, you can use these patterns. I usually get my news from blank. I read the news on my phone. I watch the news on TV. For example, I usually get my news from YouTube. I get my news from a local website. Now let's talk about types of news.
Yes, there is world news, local news, good news, and bad news.
Exactly. Alex, what kind of news do you usually like?
I like good news. I like to read about people helping other people, or new science, or good changes.
That sounds nice.
Sometimes I read world news and local news, but too much bad news makes me tired.
I understand that feeling. I like good news too, but I also read local news to know what happens in my city.
That is very useful.
Listeners, you can say, I like world news. I like local news. I like good news stories. Sometimes bad news makes me sad or tired.
These are simple sentences, but they are very helpful in real conversations.
Now, how can we start a conversation about news?
Good question.
One easy way is to say, did you see the news about blank? Did you hear about blank?
Yes, these are very common.
For example, you can say, did you see the news about the new park? Did you hear about the big storm?
And the other person can answer, yes, I did, or no, what happened?
That is a very good pattern.
Another way is to say, I read an article about blank, or I saw a video about blank.
For example, I read an article about a new school in my city. I saw a video about a new phone.
These sentences are easy to use in daily life.
When we talk about news, we also need words to react.
Yes, to say how we feel.
Some simple reactions are, that's good, that's bad, that's interesting, that's sad, that's scary.
Very useful words.
Alex, if I say, I saw a news story about a family who saved a lost dog, what can you say?
I can say, wow, that's nice, or that's a good story.
Great. Now I say, I read the news about a big accident.
I can say, oh no, that's sad, or that's terrible.
Exactly.
Listeners, you can repeat after us. That's good. That's bad. That's interesting. That's sad. That's scary.
These short reactions are very common in everyday English. Sometimes people also ask your opinion about news.
Yes, they ask, "What do you think?"
You can answer with very simple patterns. I think it is good. I think it is bad. I think it is important. I think it is not fair.
Very clear.
Alex, if I say, I read the news about a new park for children, what do you think?
I think it is good. I think it is important for children.
Nice.
And if I say, there is news about prices going up, what do you think?
I think it is difficult for many people. I think it is not easy.
Exactly.
Listeners, you can use the pattern, I think it is. Now, one more part. How often you follow the news.
Yes, people like to ask, do you follow the news? Or how often do you read the news?
Alex, how often do you follow the news?
I usually read the news every day, but not for a long time. Maybe 15 or 20 minutes a day.
That's a good amount.
What about you, Emma?
I sometimes read the news in the morning and sometimes in the evening. I do not read very much. I try to stay informed, but I also try to stay calm.
That sounds healthy.
Listeners, you can say, I usually read the news every day. I sometimes watch the news. I do not follow the news very much.
These sentences are simple, but they give a clear picture of your daily life.
Now we will give you some example monologues. You can copy them and change the details.
You can pause the video and repeat after us.
I usually get my news on my phone. I read news websites and sometimes I watch short videos. I like good news stories about people helping other people. When I read bad news, I sometimes feel sad. I try to read the news, but not too much.
Very clear. I often watch the news on TV in the evening. I like to know what happens in my city. I also read some world news online. When I hear good news, I feel happy. When I hear bad news, I say, that's sad, or that's scary.
That's a great example. I do not follow the news every day. Sometimes I read the news on the weekend. I like simple, positive stories. When my friends ask, did you see the news about this? I say, no, what happened? And then they tell me. I think news is important, but I try to stay calm.
I love that. Many learners can use these models.
Let's make a short summary of today's episode.
Today, we learned how to talk about news in English.
We used patterns like, I usually get my news from blank. I read the news on my phone. I watch the news on TV.
We also used, did you see the news about blank? Did you hear about blank? I read an article about blank.
For reactions, we used, that's good, that's bad, that's interesting, that's sad, that's scary.
For opinions, we used, I think it is good. I think it is bad. I think it is important.
Don't worry if your English is not perfect.
You can start with small sentences.
The important thing is to practice and use these patterns again and again.
Now it's time for our question of the day.
Today's question is, how do you usually get your news? And what kind of news do you like?
Go to the comments and write 2 or 3 sentences.
For example, you can write, I usually get my news on my phone. I like good news stories.
Or, I watch the news on TV. I like local news about my city.
We really want to read your comments.
Yes, when you write, you practice English and you remember the patterns.
Thank you so much for listening to Mr. English Tutor today.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
Please subscribe to Mr. English Tutor for more easy English conversation practice.
Give this video a like if it helped you.
And share it with someone who is learning English and wants to talk about news.
We will be back soon with another fun episode.
Goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, Emma.